A critically acclaimed documentary being shown across the nation and here in Plattsburgh at the Strand Theatre this past week provides an eye-opening look into the overdose epidemic and a family's struggle with addiction.
It's hard to describe myself because I don't know who I am without a substance.
Our American Family follows Linda and her family through what turns out to be her daughter's first year of sobriety as she lives in a recovery house. Linda's husband, the children's stepfather, her 2 adult sons, and her granddaughter she's raising all live together in their home in suburban Philadelphia. To raise awareness, Linda and her family welcomed a film crew into their home for an entire year. The documentary is an unfiltered look into the world of addiction and recovery and how Linda's family tries to break the cycle of generational substance abuse.
She wakes up feeling bad, she goes to bed feeling bad, she feels bad when she breathes.
That there's no limit to the possibilities of what my life could become.
I'm telling you that. She's living in hell.
Never give up on your loved one. The greatest people, the strongest people, rise out of nothing.
Linda Geraghty joined us for the screening of the film at the Strand Theatre, and then we sat down on stage for a very candid discussion about the impact that addiction has had on her family.
The whole point was to show, what it really looked like. And Nicole was the one who said from the very beginning, I'm not doing it unless you show the nitty-gritty because it's pointless otherwise. We wanted something that was going to help people. So yes, when we come out and talk to people and raise awareness around the fact that you're not alone and this is how it impacts the family and perhaps helps a parent maybe, find a different way to do this.
You can visit the Our American Family website or Facebook page to learn more. The film is available for rent or purchase through several streaming services. And Linda Geraghty joins us now. Welcome. It's nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
You're a mom
Yes.
who has 2 adult children who have struggled with addiction, substance use disorders for many years. You really had no idea when all of this started that the impact that this was going to have on you and your family.
I had no idea. I knew Nicole struggled, but I had no idea that it was a progressive chronic disease that I was going to be facing for the rest of her life. Maybe the past 5 years is when I really understood that. But it wasn't this aha moment where I said, oh, Nicole has a issue and I need to do this, this, and this. And you say, you go through the rehabs and then you come out and then you say, oh, the first time around you think, oh, 30 days, we're good. That didn't work. Then you mortgage your house for the really good rehab and you think, well, you mortgage your house, it has to be, it has to be good. 30 days is going to be it, and that doesn't work. So it's about just understanding that the sober time that they get is worth something. I don't go into this anymore thinking about, oh, they're never going to relapse again. It's a disease that most likely relapses. So what I do now is I enjoy the moments that are good.
It takes a toll on everyone in the family, not just those who are using, but obviously you, your husband, your other son. It impacts everybody.
It sure does, even the dogs. I mean, it's a horrible disease and it's a family disease, and that's why it's so important that we do have those discussions about family, because it's not just about, you have a child who suffers with substance abuse disorder and this is about them. This is about the whole family. If the family doesn't change, it's really hard for the person who suffers with the addiction to change. Because even if they go into treatment and they learn all these tools and they come out really focused and wanting it, if the family hasn't done their work, it's very difficult to go back into an environment that's already broken now and try to be well. So It definitely affects everyone, and everyone has to do the work to be well in order for it to work.
They have to be supportive. What else do the family members have to do?
So for me, personally, I attend Al-Anon, some Nar-Anon meetings. I also attend parent support groups. So I do the things that I need to do to not fall down the rabbit hole that a lot of parents fall down, that I fell down, that I continue sometimes to get lost in, is that I can fix them, that this is something that I have control over. I have absolutely zero control over their addiction, and that's unsettling as a parent. But what I learned was I have to do my own work, and it's not where they were the problem, I'm good, which I thought that in the beginning, why do I have to do the work? But I quickly realized that I was just sometimes as sick as they were in a different way and trying to save them. And you don't realize it. You don't realize you're going down these horrible holes, these places, these dark places with them until you're there and you're sick too and you need help. So I would say they're the things that help me. The Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, going to parent support group, talking with other moms all the time. We go to lunch, we share our struggles.
But as a parent, that is so natural to want to do that. It must be so frustrating that as a parent you tried to make everything right.
Oh yeah, it's counterintuitive to surrender your children. It's heartbreaking. This disease is not like anything else. It's basically something that you have to learn how to exist with. And the solutions are to not give them things when they're sick, right? So when somebody else is sick, you want to give them everything. So I had to learn that. And I'm not saying, that doesn't mean be mean, that doesn't mean don't be kind. When you have to separate yourself, and I do sometimes have to separate myself, I don't freak out on them, I just separate. And if I do have to have an interaction with them, I am kind. I show compassion. They might not see it that way because when they're in active addiction, what's compassionate to them is giving them money, is giving them something so that they can get their drug. Listening to a story that makes absolutely no sense and signing off on it. Those kind of things. But I don't do those things. And that means when they're in active addiction, I am the enemy. I've learned to be okay with that. I've learned to be okay with that because that's not my kid. Nicole said in the movie, I wish family would embrace me. And as a parent, sometimes the way you embrace them is by letting go.
How are they doing now? The movie was it 2017, 2018?
Yeah, it wrapped up in 2018, in December of 2018.
In 2018.
Yeah.
How are they doing? It's been 5 years.
So right now, Steven's doing well. He has a baby girl that is 5 months old. They live 2 blocks from my house. Christopher, he struggles with other things. He has had good amounts of sobriety. He had 2 years ago, he had a year and a half and then relapsed. And now he's in kind of a cycle. And Nicole, she had 5.5 years sober. She's currently, she struggles. I'm not going to candy coat it and say it's great because she's alive, but I am grateful every day that she's alive because this disease eventually does take them,
Why did you share your story? Why did you agree to do this documentary?
Well, I will say because I was really tired of the disease. I was really angry at the disease, and first I thought it was an opportunity to do something different that hadn't been done before, because the way the movie is done is very different than anything I've ever seen before. Originally, we thought it was going to be, interviews on a couch with other families for a parent program at a rehab. Okay. That was the original idea. But then when they came and filmed us, they saw something. And so I guess whatever they saw, they thought could be something that could help. The producer, Haley Edelman, just amazing human being. She hired the best crew, and they turned out to be like family.
You mentioned Haley. People probably wonder how in the world did they find you, but you knew Haley before.
I did. I think it was serendipitous. When I first met Haley, I was working with her through yoga, and I would have to cancel on her because Nicole was in treatment. So eventually I had to tell her, look, this is really what's going on. And she was interested because she's a writer, and at the time she was writing a young adult book about twins, and one was a person who suffered with heroin addiction. So she started asking me questions, and we started having these really insightful conversations. Then that led to her interviewing Stephen and the rest of my family for her book. So she got to know everybody that way. Haley was upset, really disturbed when she would see Nicole okay and then 4 months in, relapse and overdose. She decided to talk to us about that, said, you know, how can we do something different? Years ago, before all this, before I met Haley, I would kind of drag Nicole to these local things about addiction, and they'd have a panel, but they always put somebody on the stage that none of us could relate to. It was somebody who went to a meeting once, had success going to AA, continued, never drank again, and is going for their doctorate. That was not our story, and that was not the story of anybody else I knew. And I think people come to these events to hear the truth, not to, you know, feel good. So that was part of it too. We never knew what was going to be filmed. So what we thought was basically B-roll, they put together as a film. And that's why I think it's so amazing, because it really is, every ounce of that is real.
Linda Geraghty, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
You're welcome.
We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.